Well, those are things you need to think about. So in today's conversation, I want to talk to you about Facebook Marketplace shipping. Okay. So this is a full tutorial on Facebook Marketplace shipping. So selling with shipping and checkout on Facebook Marketplace. If you're interested in this topic, I want you to stick around till the end of today's conversation. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweaty Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you're to ask me, if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka. Now let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to speak to you about Facebook Marketplace selling with shipping and checkout on Facebook Marketplace. This is a full tutorial, and the first thing you need to do is to understand the basics. So when you sell something with shipping and checkout on Marketplace, buyers can pay you securely and you will ship the item directly to the buyer. So this is the setup, okay? And so here are some guidelines to keep in mind when you buy or sell shipped items on Marketplace. So I'm going to give you first some tips for sellers, and then I'll talk about some tips for buyers. This is important. And even if you're just a seller, you still want to hear the tips for the buyers. Why? Because you want to understand the rights and responsibilities that your buyers have. So here are tips for sellers. Make sure that your item follows Facebook's commerce policies before listing anything for sale. This is important. I'll speak about the eligible products later on, but it's important to read the commerce policies. Never ship an item before you receive full payment. I don't care what the buyer tells you. I don't care how trustworthy, quote unquote, trustworthy you believe the buyer is. Never ship an item before you receive full payment. And you want to clearly communicate the shipping timeline, the carrier, the delivery status, and tracking information to your buyer. So for instance, if you are using FedEx or UPS or whatnot, you basically need to communicate that. Be very clear about it. You need to communicate the timeline. Also important, you want to consider using a payment option that provides purchase protection, and you want to check the terms. You want to check their terms of use to see if your transaction is covered. This is important, especially if you are talking about large amounts. Really, really good. So here are some tips for buyers. First, if you want to buy on Facebook Marketplace, make sure, and this is important, get to know the person you are buying from by visiting their marketplace profile, okay? To make sure you fully understand the condition of the item you're buying, you want to message the seller to ask for more images and information if needed. If you're even luckier, they can actually send you a video, okay? The bottom line is you want to ascertain the quality of the item you're buying. Don't buy something blindly on Facebook Marketplace. This is a rookie's mistake. You want to research the cost of the item for sale. So if it seems that the seller is offering the item for too little money, there's more likely a good reason. In other words, the quality is low. You want to message the seller about your payment preferences and suggest a payment provider that offers purchase protection, okay? And again, check their terms of use to see if your transaction is covered. So after understanding those tips for sellers and buyers, I want to talk to you about the process. Okay, how do shipping and checkout work? So here is what happens when you buy or sell an item with shipping on Marketplace. So the seller will list an item for sale on Marketplace and they will offer shipping. The buyer will find the item through search or browsing categories, and the listing will show how much the item and shipping cost. The buyer will place a shipping order, or message the seller first. So an authorization hold will be placed on the buyer's payment method when they place the order. And so buyer's full address is shown to the seller on a shipping order. So the seller should ship the item as soon as they can. If they need more time, they have 3 business days to ship the items. And the buyer's payment method will be charged for the full order price once the seller marks the item as shipped. Okay. And so the buyer gets tracking info for their order, and the Facebook Marketplace will send notifications about the status of their delivery. And the order is delivered to the buyer within 10 business days of placing the order. And they can actually communicate with the seller with any questions or issues. And if there's an issue with the order, and this is important because if you want to be a successful seller on Facebook Marketplace, pay attention here. Pay attention. So if there's an issue with an order, the buyer can message the seller for help. So everything happens, I would say, bilaterally. Okay. So the seller can choose to issue a refund, and if the buyer or seller still needs help, they can contact Facebook's support team. And eligible purchases are covered by purchase protection. Okay. And one thing you need to understand is that the seller's payment will be paid 15 to 20 days after they mark the item as shipped and enter a tracking number, or 5 days after the item is delivered upon receiving delivery confirmation. So the payout goes to the account that the seller entered when they set up shipping. Okay. One thing you need to understand is that a selling fee of 5% or 40 cents minimum will be deducted from the amount of the purchase. So those are things that, Facebook needs to actually earn a living here. Okay. So when we talk about shipping on Facebook Marketplace, the process works in a very simple way. So when you buy or sell an item on Marketplace with shipping and checkout, you can buy and sell things from people all over the continental United States, not just near your location. The seller ships the item directly to the buyer. Okay, there's no warehouse, there's no FBA, there's no item being shipped to a warehouse and then Facebook will actually will package and ship it to the customer. No, things go directly, and you can pay and be paid securely with checkout on Marketplace, and eligible purchases are covered by purchase protection. So speaking about eligibility, I want to talk about that. It's important. So how do you know if you are eligible to offer shipping and checkout for your marketplace listings? That's a big question, okay? Now, sellers must meet certain criteria to be eligible for shipping and checkout. So there are two conditions. So if you're not new, two conditions. You must not be new to Marketplace or Facebook. In other words, you must have a history on the platform, and not having frequently gone against Facebook's community standards or commerce policies. In other words, you need to comply. You need to have complied with the policies in the past 2 to 3 years. So you need to have a clean history on the platform. So what kinds of items are eligible for shipping and checkout on Marketplace? It's important. Now, only certain types of items can be sold with shipping and checkout on Marketplace. So the price must be between $1 and $500. So if you have a 4-digit priced item, you cannot sell it on Facebook Marketplace, not as of now. So in terms of condition, the item can be new or used, and the seller must include an accurate condition in the listing. Okay. So in terms of categories, you have antiques and collectibles, appliances, okay, arts and crafts, auto parts, baby and kids, bags and luggage, books, movies, and music. So no digital sales are allowed, only real items for sale. Okay, if you're trying to sell a course, whatever, no, you can't. A digital course, no. Clothing and shoes, electronics and computers, furniture, garden, health and beauty, household, jewelry and accessories, mobile phones, musical instruments, okay, pet supplies, sports and outdoors, tools, toys and games, video games. So those are really important. But I just want to specify that antiques and collectibles items, they are not covered by purchase protection. Okay, so here you have it. Obviously, this list is not exhaustive, but the most important thing is just want to sell something that is legit, something that does not violate the law. Okay, trying to be compliant with Facebook policies, but also be compliant with laws in general, especially in the niche you're in. It's very important. Let's talk about registration. Okay, how do you get started with shipping items on Facebook Marketplace? Obviously, if this is your first time selling something with shipping on Marketplace, you'll need to set up your account to make sure that you get paid for your sales, okay? And to start offering shipping for your items on Marketplace. So one thing you want to do is from your news feed, you want to click Marketplace. You need to create new listing, then click on item for sale. The The whole thing is really pretty straightforward. Okay, and you want to click next, then set up. You want to set up shipping, and if you don't see set up shipping, you may not be eligible right now. So as I said before, things happen in the continental USA, so depending on your location, you might not be eligible. So you want to enter your legal name, date of birth, and mailing address. You will also need to add your bank account details so Facebook can transfer money for any sales you make directly into any bank account. Okay, it's important. So how do you sell something with shipping on Facebook Marketplace? When you sell something with shipping and checkout on Marketplace, buyers can pay you securely, and you will ship the item directly to the buyer. Okay, and you can basically, depending on the type of item you're selling, you may want to offer shipping and checkout, local pickup, or both. It's totally up to you. Please keep in mind that there is a selling fee for items sold with shipping and checkout, which helps Facebook provide purchase protection for eligible purchases. Okay, and so if you want, one thing you need to understand is that it's important to know that you can actually offer shipping and checkout for a listing. So you just, from your news feed, you want to click Marketplace. You want to create a new listing, then click Item for Sale. Then you want to enter the details for an item you like to sell. If you want to add more than one item to your listing, enter the number of items you have in stock under available quantity. Okay, so you want to click Next, then click Shipping. And the thing is, again, if you don't see shipping, you may not be eligible. Okay, and so to decide how much to charge for shipping, this is important because you need to choose a shipping price at some point. Please, there are three ways to do this. You can use Facebook's suggested shipping price, which is based on the weight of the item. You can also enter a custom price if you think it will cost more or less. And one thing you need to pay attention to is that the actual shipping cost can vary based on the exact mailing address of the buyer. So Facebook recommends charging a shipping cost that will work for most locations. Okay, you can also choose to offer free shipping and increase the listing price to cover shipping cost. Let me talk to you about logistics, because those are really important when we want to ship from Facebook Marketplace. What is really the difference between shipping and local pickup on Marketplace? Because those are options you will have to figure out when you want to ship something on Facebook Marketplace. So you have local pickup. So in that setup, buyers message the seller about the item and they can arrange for a local pickup. So dropping off and picking up items help you avoid interacting with people directly. And local pickup items are not covered by purchase protection. Then you have shipping. So buyers order an item with checkout to pay securely on Marketplace, and sellers ship the item directly to the buyer's address, and many items purchased with shipping are covered by purchase protection. And in some cases, you might offer both. So if a seller offers both local pickup and shipping on an item, the buyer can choose whichever is more convenient for them. Okay, so those are things you need to pay attention to. And how do you ship the item to the buyer directly? Well, the process is very simple. So check this out. So let's say you receive an order sold with shipping and checkout on Marketplace. You just want to ship the item as soon as you can. And if you need more time, you have 3 business days to ship your item. And Facebook's system will automatically cancel the order after 7 days if it hasn't been marked as shipped, regardless of any agreement made with the buyer. So this is important to keep in mind. So if you mark the order as shipped after 3 days, but before 7, the order will not be canceled, but you may be accountable for a refund to the buyer if they file a purchase protection claim for delayed handling. It's important. So you can ship the package using the mailing service from USPS, FedEx, or UPS and enter the tracking info immediately. You can use shipping services that offer tracking and delivery confirmation. Or you can choose a shipping speed that ensures the buyer receives the item within 10 business days of placing the order. Okay, so those are numbers you need to pay attention to. And so in order to get paid, this is important, you must mark your item as shipped, and you need to enter a tracking number. So Facebook Marketplace staff can actually check things out. So to mark an order as shipped, from your news feed, you want to click Marketplace. You have to click shipping orders, and basically when you click that, you will see the listing that you have shipped, and enter the tracking number provided by the shipping service And you can send a picture of the shipping label to your buyer to confirm that the shipping address is correct. So after you ship the item, make sure to answer any questions from the buyer about the order. So this is important. And if everything checks out, you get paid. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Suite Kiwi Show. I'm still talking to you today about Facebook Marketplace shipping, and I want to talk about customer service. This is an important element because, let's say, so the question is, what happens if a buyer has an issue with something you sold them? Because those things happen on Facebook, okay? First of all, there are policies and best practices that Facebook has published about the topic. If you are interested, you want to go and read more about those. But it's important to understand that for items you sell with shipping and checkout, you will need to do two things. Ship the item within 3 business days of confirming the order, and respond to customers within 2 business days. So those are things that are important. So make sure to mark the product as shipped and enter the tracking number. I just say it. And you want to constantly check your messages from buyers, because if buyers reach out to you, you want to respond, you want to be responsive. If they have questions, you want to answer them, okay? And you can also help avoid purchase protection claims from buyers by replying to any reported issues within 2 business days. So if a customer has an issue with an item you sold them with shipping and checkout, they can contact you for help. You will be notified in Messenger that the buyer has an issue with their order, and you must respond within 2 business days, okay? And if you think you are not at fault for the issue, please state your reasons clearly to the buyer and provide any evidence you have. All items sold with shipping and checkout are final sale, but you can choose to issue a refund, okay? And if you can't resolve the issue with the buyer, or you don't respond within 2 business days, the buyer can file a purchase protection claim, and buyers have 45 days from the date of delivery or estimated delivery if the order didn't arrive to file a claim. 45 days. That's a long time. Okay, and if a purchase protection claim is filed, Facebook will notify you by email. They will send a message to the email address associated with your Facebook account. Okay, and their team will review the order details, certain messages between you and the buyer, and any evidence available. They also monitor the buyer's refund request and purchase activity for any suspicious behavior. Okay, so after they review the claim, you will be notified of their decision by email. So if they close the claim in favor of the buyer, they will issue a refund to the buyer by deducting the total amount plus shipping cost and tax from the seller's pending payout, and email them about the decision. If they close the claim in favor of the seller, the claim will be closed, okay? It's important. So overall, there are a few tips and best practices for selling with shipping and checkouts, okay? You want to consider accepting returns. This is what it is what it is. You want to keep your listings updated, okay? Remove anything that has already been sold. So keeping listings up to date helps prevent canceled orders and negative feedback from buyers. You want to encourage buyers to rate you on Marketplace, so a high rating can build trust and interest with potential buyers. And you want to reply quickly to buyer messages, okay? Fast responses, in our view, in our research, help build trust and can show buyers that you care about their experience. So let's talk about the last part here, and payments. So it's important to understand that as a buyer, there are certain things you need to pay attention to. When will you get charged? When you buy something using checkout, you will be charged when the seller marks the item as shipped and enters tracking information for the order. So those are 2 conditions that must happen for Facebook to actually pay the seller. You may also see some temporary authorization charges on your account. And here is how things work. So when you request an order, you will see a $1 authorization charge in your account. When the seller marks the order as shipped and enters tracking information for the order, you will be charged the full amount for the order, okay? Please keep in mind that an authorization charge is a temporary hold, not an actual charge. So auth charges should actually disappear within a few days, And Facebook Marketplace they recommend contacting your bank if you have any concerns about them. Okay, and so as a seller, you get paid again when you ship an order. You mark the order as shipped, and you enter the tracking information. So I'll just explain to you the two sides of the equation: seller and buyer. And so if you, as a buyer, if anything is wrong with the item, you can be refunded, not a problem. Okay. Now, in terms of taxes, how do taxes work on Facebook Marketplace? Facebook Marketplace collects applicable sales tax on item with checkout on Marketplace. The buyer is responsible for paying sales tax, which is collected the payout. Okay. And so if you, the thing is, again, you can always cancel orders if you're not really comfortable with how things are going. And so there are two ways basically to buy and sell things on Facebook Marketplace. You have local transactions, and you have checkout on Facebook from individual sellers. And the cool thing is that local transactions are good. I was talking to you earlier about pickup. Okay, so in a local transaction, a buyer can message the seller to arrange a transaction by meeting in a public location, dropping off items at a buyer's store, or picking up items from the seller's store. So dropping off or picking up items helps you avoid interacting with people directly. But again, remember, those local transactions are not covered by purchase protection. They're not. And in terms of if you want to check out which purchasing methods are available for an item, you can send a seller a message for a local transaction, or you can click buy now, which is the checkout feature on Marketplace. So those are really important. Okay. And one thing I want to say here is if you want to have more information about local transactions versus checkout, I want you to look right now on the screen. So this screenshot actually explains the differences. And in terms of growing your presence on the platform, just be responsive. As a seller, be responsive on Facebook Marketplace. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I was talking to you earlier about Facebook Marketplace shipping. This is a full tutorial, and I give you the basics. I explained the process. I explained eligibility, the registration, the logistics, the customer service, and the payments process. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.